Here are some movies which could help us fight fascism. I'm making this video for no particular reason. Firstly, it's important for us to understand how fascism is formed, how it can sneak up right under our nose, and by the time we realize, it's too late. One of the best movies that depicts this is actually Cabaret by Bob Fosse. It's worth noting how vibrant and well-made this is as a piece of filmmaking, but it's also one of the best depictions of the gradual rise of the Nazi Party, and how art can be a force for good, but it can also be weaponized to take an entire group of people and convince them not to think too deeply. On a similar note, it's also important for us to understand the minds of people who commit atrocities. Are these always people running around, raging and screaming with bloodlust? No, it's often scarier. These are people who are blindly following orders. No movie depicts that better, in my opinion, than Zone of Interest by Jonathan Glazer. The movie follows a happy family who plays with their dog and tends to their garden. The father strolls to work every morning, except the work is Auschwitz. And throughout the entire movie, you hear the distant sounds of screaming and wailing that the family chooses to ignore. I think it's really important to understand the trappings of apathy and how the people who turn away are often just as guilty as the ones pulling the trigger. Now, I know that both these movies are quite upsetting, so I want to unpack something else. Tyranny often relies on us feeling so much fear that we lose hope. But any ideology is not going to withstand mass disruption for too long. So while it's important to understand the seriousness of what's at stake, it's also important for us to make fun of it. Now, there's nuance to this because we don't want to give it more exposure and therefore enable it. But what we do want to do is create a culture where it is fully understood that being a Nazi is fucking stupid. A lot of movies do this, from The Sound of Music, The Producers, The Rocketeers, Inglourious Bastards, the first Captain America movie, but my favorite is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
What's great about this film is it subverts everything which could potentially lead people down the path of being a neo-Nazi. A lot of young men feel lost and misunderstood, and they crave a sense of power, and to be honest, they want to feel cool. And a movie like this shows Nazis as incompetent, selfish nitwits who couldn't hit a barn door with a banana. And it provides young people with a much more honorable passion to explore: archaeology. I know that the world has been very scary recently, and there is legitimate reason to worry. But if our fear turns into a disorganized rabble, it takes positive cultural narratives and turns them into violent ones. There are plenty of ways of preventing this, and movies are absolutely one of them. If you show the right movie to someone who's going down a dodgy path, it absolutely has the power to change their perspective.